You're watching Nightline with me, Liyana Hassanel. The headlines. Ismail Sabri to take oath of office on Saturday as Malaysia's 9th Prime Minister. And Malaysia's COVID-19 cases soar with another record high of over 23,000. Good morning. UMNO Vice President Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri Yaakob has been appointed as the country's 9th Prime Minister and will be taking his oath of office on Saturday. The appointment was consented by the Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah after a 2-hour discussion with the Malay rulers at Istana Negara on Friday. In a statement, Comptroller of the Royal Household for Istana Negara, Datuk Ahmad Fadil Shamsuddin said the next process for Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri is to receive the instrument of appointment, taking the oath of office and signing the oath of office as the Prime Minister at 2:30 p.m. on Saturday at Istana Negara. He said the King determined that the Bura Member of Parliament garnered 140 nominations out of 220 MPs, thus giving him sufficient majority to form a government. His Majesty has given assent to an audience for the 114 MPs on Thursday to verify the support for the MP they have nominated as the Prime Minister. Al-Sultan Abdullah had expressed an opinion that with the appointment of the new Prime Minister, the government should continue the efforts to fight COVID-19 immediately for the safety and well-being of the people and the country, which had been severely affected by the pandemic. The King also expressed hope that the appointment of the new Prime Minister would put an end to the country's political crisis and that all MPs would set aside their own political agenda and stand united in tackling COVID-19 for the people and the country. His Majesty also repeated his view that the people should not be burdened with the endless political turmoil while the country was struggling to cope with public health issues and economic depression due to the pandemic. Datuk Seri Ismail Sabri, 61, who was former Deputy Prime Minister, was appointed as the new Prime Minister following the resignation of Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin on August 16th after failing to command majority support of the MPs. Earlier, the Yang di-Pertuan Agong presided over the special meeting of the Malay rulers to discuss the country's current issues, particularly relating to the appointment of the new Prime Minister. At the meeting, His Majesty conveyed to the Malay rulers the entire process of nomination for the new Prime Minister following Tan Sri Muhyiddin's resignation. The King also expressed his highest appreciation to the Malay rulers for their continuous support in helping him exercise his powers as a constitutional monarch in accordance with the Constitution and the rule of law. The special meeting were attended by Pahang Region Tengku Hassanel Ibrahim Alam Shah, Sultan of Kedah Al-Aminul Karim Sultan Salehuddin Almarhum Sultan Badli Shah, Sultan of Selangor Sultan Sharafuddin Idris Shah, Sultan of Terengganu Sultan Mizan Zainal Abidin, Sultan of Perak Sultan Nazrin Muizzuddin Shah, and Negeri Sembilan Yang di-Pertuan Besar Tuanku Muhriz Tuanku Munawir. "61-year-old Datuk Seri Ismail is seen as the most qualified candidate to hold the post due to his leadership quality and extensive experience in politics and government administration. Born on January 18, 1960 in Temerloh, Pahang, he graduated with a Bachelor of Law degree from University Malaya and began his career as a lawyer in 1985 before marrying Datin Sri Muhaini Zainal Abidin in 1986, and the couple was blessed with 3 sons and a daughter. Datuk Seri Ismail became active in politics in 1987 as a member of the Temerloh UMNO Division Committee before being made the division's information chief the following year and was elected as the Temerloh UMNO Youth Chief in 1993. In 1995, he served as the political secretary to the then Culture, Arts and Tourism Minister, Datuk Sabaruddin Cik, before holding the position of Temerloh UMNO Division Deputy Chief and later the division head in 2001. He won the Bura parliamentary seat under Barisan Nasional (BN) in the 11th general election in 2004 and managed to retain the seat in the subsequent polls. The UMNO vice president was a member of the cabinet from 2008 until 2018, when BN lost the general election before returning in March last year following the fall of the Pakatan Harapan PH government. He was entrusted to hold the defense minister portfolio, apart from being given the responsibility as senior minister for security to address the non-health aspects of the COVID-19 pandemic, which hit the country since March last year. He was then appointed deputy prime minister on July 7th, while retaining his portfolio as defense minister. Now, messages congratulating the incoming Prime Minister have poured in from elected representatives and party leaders. In a statement, UMNO President Datuk Sri Ahmad Zahid Hamidi said the party hoped that following Datuk Sri Ismail's appointment as PM, he will be able to realise the party's aspirations in overcoming the COVID-19 pandemic. He also expressed hope that the new government will work towards ensuring political stability before the next general election, where the mandate can be returned to the people. This was in line with the King's call for a consensus and cooperation among the members of parliament to end the political turmoil for the sake of the people and the country. Past President Datuk Sri Abdul Hadi Awang also congratulated Datuk Sri Ismail over his appointment and prayed that the Bura MP will be given strength and guidance in shouldering the heavy task as PM. Datuk Sri Abdul Hadi also urged all parties to respect the King's decision on the appointment to enable the government to focus on curbing the pandemic and economic recovery. Bersatu Deputy President Datuk Sri Ahmad Faizal Azumu also extended his congratulations to Datuk Sri Ismail. He also called on all leaders to work together and assist the Prime Minister and the cabinet that will be formed. In giving his final advice to officers at the Prime Minister's office, PMO, in Putrajaya, following his resignation, Caretaker Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin has urged the heads of the civil service to do the right thing and what is best for the sake of the nation, as every single decision made has a lot of implications not just in Putrajaya but the whole country. He said Malaysia is undergoing an unprecedented period and the government of the day still has a huge task ahead in managing the impact of COVID-19 and to make sure the nation succeeds.
Dan meletak atas bahu ni, macam saudara juga ada jawatan, ada amanah. Itu berat. Sebab tu saya kena buat betul. Betul pasal bukan saya rasa betul. Tapi Allah kata ini yang betul. That's key. You don't do what you think is right. You do what is right. So there's a difference there. You must think this is right. But Allah kata itu tak betul. Saya berpandu pada itu.
Tan Sri Muhyiddin also said although he faced criticisms over the PN government's handling of the pandemic, he believed that he has done his best as Prime Minister and the efforts carried out by his administration have managed to save a lot of lives and ensure the well-being of the people. He stressed that his cabinet members have been focused on dealing with COVID-19 day and night since they were appointed in March last year. And now the country has seen some impressive achievements, especially in terms of vaccinations against the virus. In his farewell message to his officers, shared in a 24-minute video posted on his Facebook page on Friday, the Bersatu President also thanked the PMO officers for their hard work during his short tenure in office and also apologized for any wrongdoings. Malaysia's COVID-19 cases continue to soar with 23,564 on Friday, surpassing the record high of 22,948 set just a day before. With the highest number of cases since the pandemic hit Malaysian shores, the cumulative number of cases is now at 1.513 million. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said Selangor still holds the top spot for highest number of cases by state, recording 6,974 cases. Sabah and Sarawak saw a surge in infections after logging 2,738 cases and 2,548 cases respectively, while 6 other states logged 4-digit cases. Another 233 individuals succumbed to the coronavirus in the last 24 hours, raising the country's death toll to 13,713. Of the number, 60 were brought in dead, of which 44 were locals and 16 foreigners. Some 1,062 patients are being treated at intensive care units, including 518 intubated. On COVID-19 clusters, 38 were detected, with 22 of them involving workplaces. Malaysia received the first batch of the single-dose CanSino COVID-19 vaccine on Friday to boost the momentum of the national COVID-19 immunization program, especially in rural areas, making it the first single-dose vaccine that will be used in the country. Some 200,000 doses of CanSino vaccine, developed by CanSino Biologics Incorporated from China, arrived at Kuala Lumpur International Airport, KLIA, at about 7:50 a.m. via a Malaysia Airlines flight. Present to receive the vaccine at KLIA were Science, Technology and Innovation Ministry Secretary General Datuk Dr. Siti Hamisah Tafsir and Health Ministry's Secretary General Datuk Muhammad Shafiq Abdullah. The COVID-19 Immunization Task Force, CITF, in its statement said the finished product vaccine doses were part of the 3.5 million doses of CanSino vaccine that had been ordered by Malaysia and will be delivered in stages. The CanSino vaccine was given conditional approval for emergency use in the country by the Drug Control Authority last June 15th. The single-dose vaccine would be offered to states with hard-to-access rural areas, such as Pahang, Sabah and Sarawak. At present, the national COVID-19 immunization program that started last February involves vaccines manufactured by Pfizer-BioNTech, Sinovac and AstraZeneca, while the single-dose Johnson & Johnson vaccine has received conditional approval. Still ahead on Nightline, 2 Abu Sayyaf militants shot dead in Sandakan. Stay tuned.
여기가 어딘지 아세요?
얘들아, 뭐 어쩌자는 거야? 당신들 이게 뭔지는 알고 써먹는 거야?
괜찮으세요? 아저씨!
Bola Kopitiam minggu ini.
Welcome back. Yang di-Pertuan Agong Al-Sultan Abdullah Riayatuddin Al-Mustafa Billah Shah has expressed his sadness over the Gunung Jerai mudflow in Yan, Kedah, which has so far claimed 4 lives. Comptroller of the Royal Household for Istana Negara, Dato' Ahmad Fadil Shamsuddin, said His Majesty also extended condolences to the families of the victims and hoped that they would be patient and remain strong in this time of grief. In a statement on Friday, Dato' Ahmad Fadil said Al-Sultan Abdullah hoped and prayed that the other 3 victims still missing in Titi Hayun would be found and rescued soon. His Majesty also conveyed his highest appreciation to all government agencies and departments involved in the search and rescue operations to find and help the victims, as well as the residents who were affected by the incident. He said the King advised the residents in the affected areas to remain vigilant and to immediately evacuate to the relief centres if instructed to do so by the local authorities. The mud flow, which occurred at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, had caused several villages and residential areas around Gunung Jerai to be flooded, believed to be caused by water surges from the waterfall areas. The authorities have obtained a court order from the Kuala Lumpur Magistrates Court to ban any procession or gathering scheduled to be held in Kuala Lumpur on Saturday. Kuala Lumpur Police Chief Dato' Azmi Abu Qasim said the court order prohibited any processions from Sogo Complex and Masjid Jamek, including surrounding areas within 1 kilometre radius, as well as gatherings at Dataran Merdeka. In a statement, he said police have received information about certain parties who wanted to hold a rally, which violated the Standard Operating Procedure (SOP) of the National Recovery Plan (NRP), although they claimed their application was made under the Peaceful Assembly Act 2012. He warned members of the public against gathering or organising any assemblies in Kuala Lumpur and stressed that the whole city is still under Phase 1 of the NRP, which was enforced on June 29th. Such warning comes despite the cancellation of the #Lawan rally originally scheduled for Saturday by its organizer Secretariat Solidarity Rakyat following the resignation of Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin as Prime Minister. In Sabah, 2 Abu Sayyaf group members were shot dead at an oil palm plantation in Pulau Timbang, Sandakan at the break of dawn on Friday. State Police Commissioner Dato' Hazani Ghazali said the duo had planned to kidnap oil palm plantation owners for ransom. According to Dato' Hazani, the group's kidnapping for ransom plan was revealed by Abu Sayyaf sub-leader Sansibar Benchio, who was arrested at Taman Sri Arjuna, Beaufort in May. Benchio had revealed that he had instructed the 2 members to kidnap 2 oil palm plantation owners residing in Sandakan and Sukau for ransom to fund the group's Eastern Sulu base in southern Philippines.
Operasi ini adalah hasil kejayaan yang digerakkan sepenuhnya oleh pihak Eskom dan dibantu oleh PDRM dan agensi lain seperti ATM dan juga APMM, dan kita mendapat sokongan padu sepenuhnya pertukaran maklumat dengan pihak pasukan keselamatan dari Filipina, iaitu Joint Task Force. The dead militants, identified as Rakim Landasan and Al Nasir Landasan in their 30s, were shot dead at about 5 a.m. during a shootout with security forces at the plantation. A pistol and machete were found on the dead terrorists. Authorities have also obtained information on remnants of the group who might be hiding in Sabah and would be tracking them down soon. Now, police have sought Interpol's help to locate rapper Ariz Ramli, better known as Caprice, and Cinta Gaza Malaysia Chief Executive Officer Muhammad Nadir Al-Nuri Kamaruzaman, who were both embroiled in a tiff with celebrity preacher Abid Irawan Ibrahim Liu, or better known as Ustaz Abid Liu. Wangsa Maju District Police Chief Superintendent Ashari Abu Samah said a request on the matter was made on Monday to enable authorities to record their statements online to facilitate a probe following a police report lodged against them by Ustaz Abid Liu on July 21st. The case is being investigated under the Penal Code for defamation as well as intentional insult and provocation, and under the Communications and Multimedia Act for misuse of networking facilities. A founder of the Rumah Bonda Welfare Home, Siti Bainun Ahmad Razali, was charged in the Kuala Lumpur Sessions Court on Friday with neglecting a 13-year-old Down syndrome girl, causing the victim to suffer physical and emotional wounds. The woman, however, pleaded not guilty to the charge, which was read out to her before Judge Israelizam Sanusi, who fixed October 4th for case mention.
The 29-year-old was accused of committing the offence at her condominium unit near Section 10, Wangsa Maju, between February and June this year. The charge, framed under the Child Act, provides a maximum fine of 50,000 ringgit or imprisonment for up to 20 years, or both if found guilty. The court granted bail of 12,000 ringgit with one surety and ordered Siti Bainun not to intimidate the witness, as well as to surrender her passport to the court until the disposal of the case. In Perak, State Police Chief Datuk Mayor Farid Al-Athrash Wahid revealed 2 individuals were compounded 1,500 ringgit each for violating the Standard Operating Procedures (SOP) under Phase 2 of the National Recovery Plan (NRP). This after they failed to prove that they had received 2 doses of the COVID-19 vaccine jabs through the MySejahtera application. He said the first case involved a 31-year-old man who was found dining in at an eatery, while the second case involved a 54-year-old man who attempted inter-district travel. New Zealand extends lockdown as Delta outbreak worsens. This and more when we return.
거기 누가 없어요. 여기가 어딘지 아세요?
얘들아, 뭐 어쩌자는 거야? 당신들 이게 뭔지는 알고 써먹는 거야?
괜찮으세요? 아저씨.
The Taliban are going house to house searching for people who worked with US and NATO forces and their families, according to a confidential United Nations document, despite the militants vowing no revenge against opponents. AFP, citing this report, says the group has priority lists of individuals it wants to arrest. Most at risk are people who had central roles in the Afghan military, police and intelligence units. It adds that militants are also screening individuals on the way to Kabul airport and have set up checkpoints in major cities, including the capital and Jalalabad. The document, dated Wednesday, was written by the Norwegian Center for Global Analysis, an organization that provides intelligence to UN agencies. According to a separate report from Amnesty International, the Taliban also recently tortured and killed several members of the long-persecuted Hazara minority. Witnesses gave harrowing accounts of the killings, which happened in early July in Ghazni province. Over in New Zealand, the government will extend its nationwide lockdown for another 4 days until Tuesday, after another 11 cases of COVID-19 were recorded, bringing the total number of cases to 31. According to Prime Minister Jacinda Ardern, the lockdown would give contact tracers a chance to assess the extent of the Delta variant outbreak, which first emerged in Auckland and is linked to a traveller from Sydney. Of the 31 cases, 19 are now linked to the Auckland outbreak, including 3 cases that were detected in Wellington. Ardern acknowledged that lockdowns were difficult, but urged New Zealanders to stay vigilant against breaking bubbles, visiting friends or holding gatherings. It is also understood that the Cabinet will meet again on Monday to decide if another extension is needed. The UK drug regulator has approved the first treatment to use artificial antibodies as the nation battles rising hospitalizations due to the more infectious Delta variant. The Medicines and Healthcare Products Regulatory Agency, MHRA, said clinical trial data shows the drug Ronapreve could help prevent infection, resolve symptoms of severe COVID-19 infection, and also reduce the chances of hospitalizations. The drug, developed by Regeneron and Roche, is given either by injection or infusion and acts at the lining of the respiratory system, where it binds tightly to the virus and prevents it from gaining access to the cells. The news comes as hospitalizations of COVID-19 patients exceeded 6,100 this week, a 5-month high. Action from the Super League. Sports coming up next.
거기 누가 없어요. 여기가 어딘지 아세요?
얘들아, 뭐 어쩌자는 거야? 당신들 이게 뭔지는 알고 써먹는 거야?
괜찮으세요? 아저씨.
The Super League. Kuala Lumpur City FC reignite their hope for a top 4 finish following a 2-0 win over Sri Pahang FC on Saturday night. After a drab first half, Romel Morales broke the deadlock in the 49th minute when he struck a fierce shot into the top corner. Sri Pahang then pushed on for an equalizer afterwards, but it was the visitors who found the net once again. Thanks to Zafri Yahya, who tapped in a cross into an open net for a 2-0 final scoreline. With the win, the City Boys jumped to 6th in the league standings with 27 points after 19 matches. On to tennis, the Cincinnati Open. Top seed Stefanos Tsitsipas advanced to his 5th ATP Masters 1000 quarterfinal of the season after coming back from a set down to beat Italian Lorenzo Sonego in the round of 16. The Greek made a poor start into the match, losing 5-7 to the Italian before he came back stronger in the second set to win it 6-3. Tsitsipas then continued the momentum in the final set, closing out a 6-4 victory to set a quarterfinal clash with Felix Auger-Aliassime. Meanwhile, in the women's class, Switzerland's Jill Teichmann scored the biggest upset of her career with a victory over world number 2 Naomi Osaka. The 76th ranked Teichmann came back from one set down to snatch a 3-6, 6-3, 6-3 win to reach the women's quarterfinals. Osaka committed 41 unforced errors compared to Teichmann's 29, who will next face her compatriot Belinda Bencic. Over in Spain, daredevil Alexis Landot climbed the building of the Emilia Barcelona Sky Hotel in Barcelona without wearing any safety equipment and took only 17 minutes to complete the climb on the 120-meter-high skyscraper. The amazing stunt wraps up Nightline this time around. I'm Liyana Hassanel. Thanks for watching and stay safe, Malaysia.